envious, and we couldn't
Welcome back to the Call of Duty Championship presented by Xbox. I'm Golden Boy. This is Rel, and we have a great matchup lined up for you guys here today. It is going to be Vexx Revenge facing off against the boys over in Team Orbit. That's going to be the first one to kick it off. Rel, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, and I'm extremely excited for this. I mean, we were just discussing before, this is going to be a really close game. This is Pool B, and we've got the Canadian team of Vexx Revenge, as you say, 18th seed, going up against the 31st seed of Team Orbit. I can't call it. I know Team Orbit are a really strong UK team.
That's right, and Revenge I'm also very familiar with as well, because Revenge, they're a team that came out strong in Columbus, made a name for themselves. I saw them and said, you know, you guys are really good. You should come out to UMG Philadelphia. So I extended an invite, gave them a team pass, said, come out and see if you guys could do it again. And they did. They faced off against some pretty tough competition. Of course, you know, they didn't manage to break into that top 8 echelon, but still, you got to give them credit. Very solid team. So without a doubt, this is going to be a very close matchup here between these two squads. I think you're going to see some great plays. Who from Orbit in particular are you looking forward to seeing?
I mean, one person I want to watch a lot is Endura, because something to remember here is there's 2 players on Orbit. This is technically their first event, of course, excluding the regionals or the championship in Europe where they actually qualified for this. So this is new to them, but online they've been so dominant. Endura plays a lot of online tournaments and very strong. The other 2 players on the team, they originate from PlayStation and they've won a lot of events as well, but now they're coming over to Xbox and competing against the big boys.
That's right. I mean, nothing says making that transition, of course, is very difficult too, but they are here. They are at the Call of Duty Championships, and they are looking to make a name for themselves in the group stages. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. I'm so excited about it, of course. I know that a lot of you guys back at home are as well. Players currently right now are going to be warming up and getting ready to go. Should be about 5 minutes before we start our first matchup, so that will be a pretty good one there.
Yeah.
But, Rel, any other things you kind of want to add to this matchup here between these two squads?
Well, I think it's important for you guys back home to remember the format that this is going to be played in. So this is a best-of-5 series to begin with, and it's going to be like that throughout the tournament. And what's going to happen, it's going to be a domination, a search and destroy, a blitz, and if it goes to it, a further domination and search and destroy. So some great game modes. There's going to be a veto system in place, so we're getting the best maps played for these teams, and it's just going to be great. I mean, they're taking away the maps they don't like, and they're just going in with the best shot here.
Yeah, the veto system has definitely added quite a bit to competitive Call of Duty. It's been a joy because, you know, you have teams that are particularly strong in other maps, or you have teams that do their homework and know, oh, this team might be good at Octane Domination. So let's go ahead and veto that, get rid of that, so we take away their strongest map. Those are the kinds of things that we're going to expect to see. Of course, we'll be sure to correlate all that information over to you guys and all the other casters here as well on Alpha, as well as Charlie Delta. We're going to be sharing all that info, what maps are going to be played, the formats, all that stuff, because we want you guys to know. We want you to know what's going on here at the Call of Duty Championships presented by Xbox. So, with that said, Rel, we're going to do the standard caster thing.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go, hey, predictions. What's your prediction, Rel?
I'm actually, I mean, you could say I'm going to be a little bit biased here going for my home team.
Terrible.
Team Orbit,
Terrible.
I think they're going to take it, but I think Vexx are going to put up a good fight. I think we're looking at maybe a 3-1, 3-2 victory for Orbit. One thing I would say is, I mean, the way that these guys have qualified, just looking at Orbit for a second, in the online qualifiers, they won 6 out of the 7 online games, only losing to TCM, and then when they went into the actual European Championship to get here, they beat TYT and only narrowly lost to Vitality Rises. It was a 3-1 defeat, but each game that they lost, there was 1 point on the domination, 1 point on the blitz, and Vitality Rises are a really strong French
If
team.
I'm correct, this is also the same Orbit team that came out to UMG Philadelphia, right?
I believe it's changed since that. It was Ensidia, and these guys, Orbit picked these guys up because they've been playing so well.
So it was the former
Orbit.
Orbit.
That's the one, yeah.
Gotcha.
But, I mean, the organization, as you say, they've already played internationally, and they've extended, you know, their team out to these guys. They've got faith in them. They know they're a good team.
Okay, well, I think Vexx Revenge is going to do very well, honestly. I have a lot of faith in the squad. Slumber. In particular, is a player I'm looking out for. He plays 17th at MLG Columbus.
That's right.
And he was a part of that original roster. And, you know, the Revenge guys, I know the dudes really well. They're great people, a good organization. And then they just paired up with Vexx, so that's a great look for them as well. I'm looking forward to seeing what they could do. And I'm going to have to side with Revenge on this one. I'm going to have to go for my boys from the north. Yeah, I mean, I think of course, besides, obviously, I don't want to be biased, but I feel like Vexx Revenge is a team that people are going to sleep on.
Yeah.
And I think that they're going to do that, and then it's going to cost them. No doubt in my mind, they are a strong team, and will they be able to take on the likes of Complexity, Strictly Business? I don't know. I probably not, right? And not to take anything away from them, they definitely are an incredible team. But, they also need that time to practice against them. But I do feel like a lot of teams, especially in this particular pool, which I want to take a look at this because I believe Vexx Revenge, what's the pool we're looking at here?
So we've got Vexx Revenge, we've got Team Orbit who are playing now, but we've also got Complexity, as you said before, and the All-Stars, Real All-Stars, the Netherlands team, a great mix of players.
So this is going to be a crazy group here.
Yeah.
I mean, Group B, just with Real All-Stars and Orbit, that already kind of like mixes things up. But then you throw in Complexity in there. It's going to be, again, Complexity is going to be a team that's going to be very tough to beat in this group. So this, in my personal opinion, Rel, this kind of seems like a battle for second.
Yes.
And again, not to take anything away from these other players or from these other teams, but Complexity is one of the top teams, if not the top team in the world.
Oh, sure. I mean, the amount of tournaments and events that they've won, sometimes they go second place, very rarely. They're just dominating the scene at the moment. In the actual qualifiers, they did place second to Strictly Business, which was a little bit of a surprise for everyone.
Yeah, some weak play there from TP at US Finals. Even he admitted it.
I've got to say, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
They're still probably coming in here the favorites, I would say.
Yeah, I definitely have Complexity within the top three, for sure. But I feel like in this particular group, though, when you talk about Group B, you do have that potential for an upset if they're not careful. And that's what I'm saying. Again, not to take anything away from the players. It's but Complexity is a very strong team, but I have known them in the past to sometimes be a little
complacent.
Complacent, a little cocky. So we'll see if that ends up biting them in the butt a little bit later, of course. But with that said, going back to this matchup here, Vexx Revenge versus Orbit, this should be a good one. I'm really looking out for Demon as well.
Yes.
Demon's another player I'm going to be checking out over in Vexx Revenge. But I'm super pumped for this matchup. I just want them to start it already. They're aggravating me.
To be honest, Demon, I'm just going back to it. The actual qualifiers, the Canadian qualifiers, it was Vexx against Wild Gaming, and Vexx actually qualified first before Wild Gaming, but he actually went down to the last round. It was 5-5. Demon actually finished 15-6. He went huge on that Search and Destroy. They came down they were 4-1 down and came back to win it 6-5. So, that got them the higher seed. That put them in this group, and they've earned their place. So Demon definitely wants to watch.
That's what I'm saying. It is going to be a very good matchup there. Demon, look out for him. We'll be sure to highlight him as the action unfolds and we find out the maps, what we're going to be playing here.
Yeah.
But it's going to be now. What map, by the way, was that last map in for Wild? Do you
that
have
was Freight Search and Destroy. That final map. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so would you veto that?
Well, this is it. They've got to be really tactical about how they do this because they have to think not only what maps they're bad at, but what maps the other team is bad at. So, there's a lot of mind games going on.
And considering that they probably don't have a lot of experience playing against one another, it's going to be a tough sell. It's like, well, how do we know? What are they good at? What are they bad at? You got to kind of make that gamble.
Yeah, some of these teams, when we've been speaking to them, they've been doing the research. They've been watching VODs. They've been watching YouTube videos of the other teams actually playing so they can see what kind of play style we have. And they've been getting the inside knowledge, I suppose.
Yeah, I actually had a chance to talk with Immunity, which was pretty funny. This is I spoke with them as soon as I got off my cab, and I saw them outside, and I was like, so, how are you guys feeling? And I believe they're in the group with Envy, if I'm correct. And I was like, how you feeling? That Immunity matchup against Envy is going to be a really good one. That's the Australian team.
Yeah.
And they were like, you know what? We did a lot of research. We know how to shut them down. I'm like, really? Okay, Australia, let's go. I really want to see this.
Well, this is it. The Australian teams, the first time they came out here, they didn't have the best of starts. They got a tough group and did get knocked out early. But I've got to say, this is a strong Immunity team. Even though they only came second after T1 Trident T1 Dotters, I'd still say they're the favourite Australian team at the moment. So they're going to go straight into it. And I think a lot of people are saying this is Group E that we're referring to now, just for reference. Envios will probably take that group, but Tech Intensity against Immunity is going to be the decider for second place. That's going to be a close game as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's, you're looking at it, and the North American teams are going to be very strong. I think that's a given at this point. But you look at like what the battles are going to take place within the group, and you're going to see some great matches.
Yeah.
You know, like you're going to see some great matches with evenly matched teams that are just going to be bringing it all. They're going to bring the thunder, and I'm so pumped about that.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Call of Duty Championship presented by Xbox, and it's not just a big trophy. It's not just 4 championship rings. It is $1 million that these players are playing for here.
Yeah, it's a lot of nuts.
It's incredible. I mean,
it's a lot of money.
No one has ever played on this level. Of course, there's lots of tournaments that do give cash prizes, but $1 million is potentially life-changing for some of these guys.
No, that's right. I mean, what would you do?
I have no idea. I'd probably do something boring and just put it in a bank and keep it safe. But
that sounds like a very Rel thing to do.
That's a classic thing I would do. I'd be very boring with it. But I imagine some of these guys, if they won here, not only would they be pumped from winning, but they'd enjoy themselves. We are in LA, of course, the beautiful LA, and we're having a great time already.
Yeah, well, we're going to take Rel to Rodeo Drive maybe in a little bit and have him get down there, buy some ties, buy some $1,000 ties.
Oh, boy, don't get me started. I don't think I even have that much money.
Yeah,
but anyway.
Neither do I. So
that's a whole other story.
With that said, though, we are waiting for the matchup to begin as the players are currently, seems like they're just warming up. We had to give the players a little bit more time here because everyone came off of the bus and there was just a lot of okay, who's warming up? Who's first? So there was a little bit of confusion there. So everyone's getting warmed up, ready to go. We should be starting pretty soon. But Rel, I guess I got to ask you, when you look at this group, right, and you look at the matchups we're going to have here, of course, you have that, I would say, that battle for second if Complexity is that given first. Mm-hmm. I mean, who do you realistically see coming out of Group B?
Well, okay, I'm going to say Complexity first. I think we're in agreement on that. As I say, I think Team Orbit will be able to take this game. I think it's going to be Team Orbit versus All-Stars, which, I'll be honest, I just cannot call that at all. It's a really strong Netherlands team featuring 2 UK players who have competed at a very high level, going up against Team Orbit, renowned for being very strong online. A lot of doubters going into LAN, but obviously, time will tell. These guys are going to meet at some point.
Yeah, and I also think that group play is great for them because you're going to have a lot of chances to play. I mean, you're going to be able, for starters, I mean, you're ready. If you're Orbit, you're going to have this great matchup against Vexx Revenge. So that already is going to set the tone for how you're going to play throughout the rest of the rest of this particular group. So let's go ahead and take a look at the schedule here so you guys can see what's going to be coming up here for the group play on Group 2 or Group B. You have Vexx Revenge versus Orbit, which is what we're going to take a look at here on Bravo. On the Alpha side at 11, Real All-Stars versus Complexity. So they're going to get that beautiful stage for that one. And then Complexity comes back over to Bravo for their matchup against Vexx. Orbit, Real All-Stars on Bravo. Vexx Revenge and Real All-Stars on Bravo again. And then Complexity versus Orbit on Bravo. So you look at those matches, and if we can keep this page up for a sec, look at a couple of these matches here. Who takes which one? Let's say the first 3, right? We have Complexity in both of those matches, Revenge in both of those matches. I would say Real All-Stars versus Complexity should be a good one.
I think that's going to be great, and I think, you know what, everyone's saying Complexity are just going to walk some of these teams, but Real All-Stars are so strong. We've got 2 of the top Dutch players and 2 of the top UK players teaming up there. They were very strong in the actual European Championship, and I think they're going to be very strong here as well.
And we just found out that our first map will be Dom on Freight, so it seems like the veto system has already gone into effect. I'm writing everything down so that this way I can have, so I can have my info.
That's it.
I can have my info. But yes, I'm super pumped about this one. So Dom Freight. Okay, so I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of Freight.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
Domination Freight is a really interesting map. We can actually pull it up here and have a quick look at it. But it's very pivotal. That B flag, it's right in the middle of the map, very, very open. You can see it there, just in between the 2 train carts is where the actual B flag will be. And a lot of the time, even though we switch sides, the first team that can secure that flag can also hold it for a long, long time.
Yeah, that's right. And remember, guys, for those of you tuning in, maybe new to competitive Call of Duty, we want to give you guys a heads up how Domination is played. So the way Domination is played is you have 2 sides. So basically, you play 2 sides of the ball. One team will start at the home flag on one round, and then it'll switch sides for the second round. And then we take the numbers together of both games, add them up. Whoever has the most points, they win. I think that's all common knowledge at this point as far as, if you should have the most points, you should win.
Yeah.
So that is how we're going to be playing Domination. Of course, we'll continue to update you guys on that as the weekend continues on, just so that you can always be familiar with the rules, again, in case you're new with competitive Call of Duty. Now, talking about Domination on Freight, I'm looking to see a lot of SMG play here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's quite close quarters, especially, as I said, around that B flag. And what you'll actually find very early on, as you say, it's all about capturing these flags and holding these areas. Because B is so important, you will sometimes see teams just go straight for it and just leave one person at the home flag because they need to get that first.
Yeah, that's right. So they'll have to go after their home flag. You want to make sure you're doing that. Look for players to also neutralize the flag, as in when they cap it halfway, then if they end up getting taken out on the flag, then the flag is null. There's no one getting points on that one. Look for players to manipulate that just a little bit occasionally, just so that this way they can, just continue to stack on that lead. That should be a good one. Also, look for players to be pushing key positions, like look for players to be pushing over by the Owens building, which is the green building, facing more on the, I believe that's the C flag, if I'm correct.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, so there'll be, look for players like from the other team to be pushing that, so that this way they can at least have a player in their face. Good angles. Look for players to play by crates. There's going to be a lot of different positions. We'll be sure to highlight that when the map begins. But yeah, anything in particular that you're looking for here besides that rush on B? Because that's going to settle a lot of questions early on as far as who gets that control early.
I mean, in terms of domination on freight, the red building is so important. That gets you an overall view of the map. It allows you to get the map control, and that's what's really important on domination, just controlling the map, forcing teams back into their own spawn. What teams will try and do to get out of that, though, is run underground. There's a very narrow passage to go underground, and you can actually flip the spawns if you get round there. So that's going to be the escape route for teams that are struggling.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how players are going to play that one out, of course. And we're waiting for the matchup here to start. It seems like we still have some warm-ups, but they should be coming up in just a second. So, yeah, definitely going to be looking forward to seeing how they're going to position themselves. How important, because the big question that everyone's been bringing up this weekend is SMG play, right? Everyone's like, this is going to be a very important factor. How important do you think ARs are going to play into this first domination game?
Well, the ARs, they're the guys that kind of stay out of all the dirty work of getting the flags, but they've got a whole of points, and you could argue they've got more of an important job sometimes, because if they're not doing their job, players are going to sneak around the back and take out the SMGs, which is bad news. I think it was really interesting what you were saying before as well about neutralizing flags, because if teams can get a lead and neutralize that B flag, and either team just has the A and C, then the points are going nowhere. The leading team will win that game.
All right, so it seems like the action is going to begin. Good points from Rel. We're going to see how all this unfolds, as it is now time to begin the first matchup of the Call of Duty Championship presented by Xbox here on the Bravo stream. Vexx Revenge going up against Team Orbit. Vexx Revenge coming from Canada and Orbit from the UK. Let's see how all this how this works out, and let's just bring up the nifty CODcaster view, the esports broadcaster mode here, and see what's going on there. You can see the team logos there for Revenge as well as Orbit, and it is now time to begin. Here we go. Who do you want to kick it off with?
I think we should stay on board with Vexx Revenge. Let's start with the Canadians. They are one of 2 Canadian teams that are in attendance at this event. On the flip side, as we said, Team Orbit, one of 4 of the UK and Ireland spots. And here we go with Demon, who I highlighted before was very strong on this map in the search and destroy in the qualifiers.
That's right. Let's see what he's going to do. He's rushing straight over toward the white building, trying to see if he can get some control in here. And there is going to be one player around the corner, and he is going to get taken out. 2 members down, 3 members down. Ill Skill by himself. Looking over by, he's going to find one guy running past him, finding one, going for the double. Not going to happen there as he gets taken out. And now back over to Mech here with Revenge as they're going to continue to look around by B. Great shot there out of Mech. And now it seems like Revenge will be able to get control of B and hold this one down. But let's see how the answer back from Orbit is going to be. And it seems like they are going to be able to get in their face. But Ill Skill with a huge win, although he gets shut down right away.
And look at this. There is so much going on this B flag. We saw trophy systems being introduced there. Some smoke grenades are probably going to be thrown sometime soon. Slumber does survive the grenade, and this almost goes in control of Vexx Revenge, but it is still neutral at B flag.
Yeah, now Ill Skill has to go huge here. He does not get the kill, but he is going to have a teammate off the spawn, and that is going to be Mech. But there is going to be 2 members, as you can see there on the map, right by B, and another one actually pushed up. That will be Demon, but Mech will be working with Demon here, so they are going to have eyes on the flag. No one's on there just yet. One player pushing around. Who is this going to be lingering on the outside? That's going to be Slumber, who's hanging out by White, but he is going to get taken out from behind, and now Mech will be pushing in on B. But look here at the smart plays of the boys on Revenge. Look at Demon. He's already in the face of the other team, hanging out over by their goal area, and he's just continuing to apply pressure pressure as best as he can.
And what I love about this style of play from Vexx Revenge is they are not just all clustering around that B flag. They're trying to drive Orbit back into the spawns and then get a safe capture. Very, very smart play.
Yeah, the way that Demon, and look what Demon's going to do here. So he might go for this neutralization. Let's see. They know that their flag's going to be stopped. And look, you see 2 players turning around, 3 players turning around. That's going to open it up. But this one player does not go big on the B flag, so that's not going to be a good look. And it seems like he went for that. He went for it, managed to turn them around, but they were still able to come up on top. And those are the plays that matter, right? When you were able to force the other team, 3 members for that matter, to turn around on their home flag, you have to go big. You have to get control of that B flag.
Well, this is it. Demon's just been a nuisance there. He neutralized it. He forced Team Orbit to pull back, and now it has opened things up for Vexx Revenge to make this push onto B.
Yeah, well, they are going to have 2 members there. So let's go ahead, jump over to Orbit, and see what's up with Jacko, as Jacko does find one player over by his second story. Owens, one player in front of him as well. That's going to be Mech. Ill Skill gets dropped by Endure. And now with Jacko moving up on the stairs, expecting someone to be there. Knows shots are coming through because he sees it go off on his radar. He's going to drop around, but big kill there out of Jacko. And it seems like Orbit is going to maybe get an opportunity here to make something happen, but they are going to have 3 players up circling by B. But again, like we talked about before in the pre-show, it's all about pushing B. It's all about getting that control, and you can see right there, this is intense to say the least.
Yeah, it's very, very close here. Jacko does get shut down there. Just switching over to Bounce, as we discussed before. This is his first event following the EU Championship, but he gets shut down as well. And now Endura needs to make that kill, which he does. B is still neutral, Golden Boy.
Yeah, well, there is going to be a player there for the cap, but no, Revenge is not going to get it. Lewis here is going to try and drop that down too. Not going to happen either. Bounce, and you said Bounce was the guy. Ooh. He ends up getting a kill there with his MTech. You said Bounce was this was his first event. Right?
First event following the European Championship, absolutely. So he's gone straight to the grandest stage. But they are losing B now, and this is a very important point in the match.
Big plays there out of Jacko as he was able to stop that one player by B. And now they're going to be halfway there. Shots exchanged, but Jacko's going to have to get off that flag. Finding one, melting him. And he is going to get dropped. Endure 12-9, by the way.
Yeah, Endure is playing out of his skin. A really good start for him here in the Call of Duty Championship. And now he's just going to be pushing on this spawn. B still neutral. The point difference is only 2 points on this first half of domination.
All right, and Endure is just getting those shots. 15-9 as he circles around here by C. Now you're going to see a couple of those orange arrows are going to be turning around. He's not able to stop them, but it is going to give his teammates enough time to push up on B. You are going to see Orbit. Lewis hanging up by Red, finding one. Vector in hand, able to nail that one. Going for the pre-fire. Can't quite do it as he gets taken out. Another members of Orbit all over the place, and this does not seem to be faring well for them. But Endure with a big kill opening up B. That was a huge shift there because now his teammates are going to be spawning up. Look at the pre-fires right underneath that truck or the train. Great play out of him. He really needed to get that kill.
Yeah, Endura is playing insane here, and he's a very aggressive SMG. He has a lot of dirty work to do, but he's doing it well. The flag is being contested there, but it is just about going to go into Orbit hands here to close out this round.
Orbit, and that is the first cap of B we've seen in this entire matchup, Rel.
And it was Jacko who did get it. Jacko and Lewis, 2 of the players on Team Orbit, teaming together for 14 months now. They know how to bounce off each other. And we are going to see the first side of this domination end 58-57, 1 point in Team Orbit's favor.
That is ridiculous.
that is just crazy. Well, we said it was going to be a good game.
We called it, dude. We called it. And the best part about it, and here you can see this is the last play here from Endure as he was able to take out Illskill. Now, again, 1 point differential here between these 2 teams. That, it doesn't get closer than that. It really doesn't. And honestly, look, big stats there from Endure. He went 18-12 on that last game. I mean, that's just madness.
I was going to say, certainly the standout player for Team Orbit, definitely. Vexx Revenge, quite interestingly, every single player had very similar kill and death ratios, but Team Orbit seemed to be split a little bit more. And I've got to say, Endura was kind of carrying his team through that somewhat.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Endure, if he didn't have that performance that he had there, we could very well be singing a different tune.
Yeah.
But with that said, still 1 point difference between these 2 teams. It's anyone's ball game again, and we're waiting for the matchup to get started here for the next side. I mean, do you reckon we're going to see the same thing again, Rel, where you have B pretty much neutral the entire game?
Well, I don't think it's going to play out like that this time, because the thing is, Vexx know that it's only 1 point behind, but they know they need to get the lead. They can't just draw this out now, so they're going to have to make an aggressive push. It's either going to pay off for them, or it's going to cost them dearly.
I want to see what they're going to do off the break, too. Bear in mind, use of trophies are going to be super important.
Yeah.
Now, trophy system, of course, you know, it's a very useful tool and a great tactical to use, because, and remember, this is the first side here, side, so we have another side to play. So when they come out the gate, we could potentially see them drop maybe 2 trophies.
Possibly.
Maybe 2 trophies, maybe 1 smoke, so that this way they can get some good concealment. But again, Orbit, they're probably going to do the same thing, probably thinking the same thing.
And the thing is with the trophy systems, they've got to be careful, because there is a little bit of a delay in putting it down. So while you're deploying a trophy system, you cannot shoot your gun. So you're effectively very vulnerable.
And it's also very slow to put down as well. Like, you're like, you know, going to take out tripod, you know, drop it down, you know, stuff like that. So I don't know. It's good. It's good. Way to kick it off.
It's all to play for. As we say, 1 point in Team Orbit's favor. It's effectively nothing. I mean, either team could now take this second side, but we have seen so many domination games that finish with just a 1 point difference.
That's very true. That's very true. You know, that 1 point can make or break, you know, and if it was tied, I mean, you know, you don't see that all that much. But one thing that I am really impressed about is neither team gave in, right?
No.
I mean, toward that last 17 seconds, you know, Vexx, they lost those battles. Endure was a big part of that, though, hands down. So, and I'm going to go ahead and bust out the nifty Codcaster here in just a sec. Seems like waiting for the players to join up any minute now. But, yeah, so it seems like there is a bit of an issue here with the it seems like there's a little bit of an issue here with the spectator mode for some odd reason, but you know, it is what it is. We'll just go ahead and run it this way here, so that this way you guys can at least see the action. On board right now with Slumber from Team Revenge. He's going to continue to try and rack on those points there, and they managed to get beat off of the gate. That is incredible there, Rel. Big move for Slumber, and it seems like there is going to be a conclusion there to that game, because there may have been an issue there. I noticed it, but it's okay. It's all good.
It's all right, because they're going to restart. So that B flag capture, you know, it's been, you know, they did get the B flag, but look at that. There's only 3 players in that game, so they're just getting things restarted here. As we say, I mean, I was a little bit surprised that I was thinking, wow, they got that quick.
Yeah, I was like, that was not the same thing from that last game. What is going on here? But so it makes sense.
We did see a little bit of an opening strategy there. As you said, they just ran for it and got the trophy systems out.
Yeah, but they sent an AR over there, right? Which is interesting. So I think they might be running with an AR with extreme conditioning to give them that unlimited sprint and be able to push up as quickly as they can, get an AR underneath that train, and have an angle right by that red alley there, that mid alley, I should say. You have an angle there with an AR and a red dot. You're going to be able to pick off a lot of people as they're pushing forward.
Well, this is it. I mean, we were talking about the supporting play of ARs, because what their job is just to stop the players getting to the SMGs or the submachine gun players while they're on the actual flags trying to capture it. So it's not all about these on-flag gunfights. There's a lot of tactical play here as well.
Yeah, you have to bear in mind that it's not all about, like, there's this common misconception that it's like, all right, everyone, just run and push forward and get everything. And you're like, no, there's a lot more strategy to that, and people just sometimes forget that. So
but these guys are the best players in the world, and they are well aware of this. Now, they have practiced this game rigorously. You have no idea how much hours these guys have been putting into Call of Duty to get to this point. They are the best of the best.
That's right, and now it seems like the action's going to be starting up in just a few. Let's see if Vexx Revenge is going to be able to move up and get that B flag right away, thus changing the entire landscape of that matchup when we went from B being pretty much contested for the entire time of that first side to B getting capped right away.
Yeah,
interesting stuff.
If that first side of domination is anything to go by at all, we could be seeing a best-of-5 thriller here and maybe going right down to the wire on the final search and destroy.
All right, well, I want to kick it off with my good friend Endure from Team Orbit, because I feel like Endure, he was a big part of that last game. Let's see how his SMG play helps him out this time around. Look for a lot of activity to be had over by B to kick things off, and let's go ahead and find it here. So here's B. You can see you have Mech as well as Demon pushing up. Endure is going to get picked off right away, and that is now going to open the floodgates here for Revenge to get inside of the Orbit base, but Lewis is going to have to hold this one down, and I thought that was going to be that opportunity they needed, but it seems like Orbit was able to fight that one off.
There we go. Lewis being very cautious around the flag, but he does now make the push onto it, as a lot of the Vexx Revenge players do drop down, and it's going to be an early capture there for Team Orbit.
Big cap there out of Orbit. Now you're going to see a lot of players pushing by the crate side. Lewis is going to be ready for this push, and he is going to find one player. He's going to probably meet him around the side, but instead gets met with a ton of bullets on the corner, with Jacko pushing up over by mid. It seems like Revenge is going to be there right away. That Vector able to get a double. Big kills there out of Jacko. Getting that double. Lewis going to be there, but Mech says, no, bro. We're going to have to stop that one right here. Back over to Bounce as he's going to hold down B, and Orbit gets it right back.
There we go. And that was really, really dangerous there, but some big play from Team Orbit. As 3 went down, they managed to actually retain that flag and get it back. So great play there from the UK players.
Jacko gets dropped there on this side, and I agree with you, Rel. That was some stupendous play. The way that they were able to push up, most teams will buckle under that pressure, but they were able to fight back immediately. And you could see Endure. He's already pushing up on the A flag here, going for that flip. But there's going to be one player over by the B flag, so they have to be careful. Endure, though, not able to win that gunfight. Slumber comes out on top. Let's see what's up with Lewis.
Yeah, and Vexx Revenge here looking a lot shakier than the first side. I mean, we've got to look at this map now, and we can see that 2 of the flags are in Team Orbit control. One of them is now recaptured by Team Vexx Revenge, but for a brief period there was no flag in Vexx Revenge control, and there's now a 14-point difference on the second half.
That's right. I mean, Orbit definitely showing that. Oh, big double out of Jacko. Oh, and for the triple. He had to just get up. He got up. I know he got up. He stayed still.
Big 3-piece there from Jacko. That was
huge.
Insane.
Great plays out of Jacko. 9-5 right now, currently working on a 3-point streak. Finding one player on the outside. Oh, that MTAR is not going to cut it there, as he is going to get met over by the backside by the goal. Seems like Endure is going to push up and find one. Goes for that shot, so that's going to be a stop right away. They know he's going to be hanging out around the side, and the hip fire not strong enough, as Endure is going to get taken out.
And it just seems like Team Orbit have settled into this now. Maybe they were a bit nervous going into that first game. As we say, 2 very new players to tournament events. And maybe they're settling in. They had that 1-point confidence boost, and they are just running away with this now.
Yeah, that seemed like they have a lot more control on this side. And you see Vexx, they're like pushing out. And, you know, of course, you want to make sure that you're always being mindful of where you're running. Check your corners sometimes, you know, especially if you know that you're getting pressured in your base like this. Now that Bounce is going to be hanging out over by the home flag here for Vexx Revenge, it seems as if they're just going to continue to apply that pressure. They're fine with being able to make that switch happen, but they have 1 minute and 52 seconds left on the clock. This could be an opportunity here for Vexx, but Bounce goes massive as he was able to get 1 kill, follow that up with an assist thanks to his teammate Endure.
Yeah, and I've got to say, Bounce had a bit of a rough first side, but now we can see him going double positive, 10-5 on a 5 kill streak there as well, playing really well for his team, and I think Team Orbit are going to take this first map, Golden Boy.
I mean, they're going to be about a 30-point lead here, so add that to their 1. So that's going to be a 31-point lead. Yeah, I mean, you'll be hard-pressed to go against that at this point in time. Big kills there out of Jacko, getting that one with that Semtex, following it up with an MTAR kill. Looking over by Red, finding one. It seems like Orbit's rolling now.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be interesting to see if they can carry this momentum into the later Search and Destroy and Blitz games, or if we'll see a different Vexx Revenge. Because let's look at Vexx Revenge players. Let's see what's going on with those guys. They played really well on that first side of domination.
Well, you know what? They played well, but I got to give credit to Orbit, and the reason being is Endure was the player who went massive in that first game, right? But if you look at the players now, 13-9, 13-8, 13-8, 11-9, Endure's not the top Slayer. He's not the top Slayer right now, and that says a lot about this team where they, you know, Endure was good enough by himself to be able to push them to 1-point lead, give them that little bit of comfort, that reassurance that, you know, this was not a game that was lost for them. But yet, now they're all performing. 14-10, 14-9, 14-10, they're all showing up here. You have Lewis, Bounce, and Jacko, you know, sharing their bulk of the load, telling Endure, hey, listen, man, you went big on that last game. We got your back this time around. But even Endure is like, hey, thank you so much for the help, but I can carry my own weight as well. And Orbit is definitely showing up here in this domination fray.
Well, this is it. They are working as a team. The chemistry is now there, and this could be a dangerous force going into the later stages of this group.
That's right. Very, very scary game there. 58-96. And that is the final result. There are big plays there out of Jacko. Most importantly, getting a wonderful triple kill. Also following it up with I believe, 2 other doubles as well. So just a stupendous play out of him to close this one out. Orbit looks does a great job.
Yeah, and I believe that was a plus 39 overall by Team Orbit there. So fairly convincing in the end. That plus 39 points in total, I believe, because it was 96 to 58 on that second side, and then there was the 1 point difference on the first side. So very, very close first side, but Team Orbit really settling in now.
All right, well, guys, when we come back, it is time for game number 2. Orbit looking very strong to close out that domination freight game. Are they going to be able to do so on the Search and Destroy? I don't know, but we'll find out after this. Don't go anywhere. This is the Call of Duty Championship presented by Xbox.